The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
Trevor, I'm doing it, okay? I'm going against my word. And I'm also going to an Oilers bar tonight in Vancouver to watch Game 6 with my cousin Nab. Am I turning heel? Am I turning heel? Who knows?
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Kyle, you better come clean to the people in about 60 seconds. But before that, I got to say welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. All right, my name is Trevor Beggs, co-host of Locked On Canucks, and also a Canucks writer since 2013, currently with Daily Hive Vancouver. Before we dive into this episode on a sunny Friday in Vancouver, we got to thank you for tuning into Locked On Canucks, because guess what? It is your Canucks every damn day. We're part of that Locked On Podcast Network, okay? Doing the most for sports fans across North America. And for our show, if you haven't done so already, make sure you go subscribe or follow us for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. I also got to let you know this episode is brought to you by Ultimate Hockey GM. Ever dreamed of becoming the next Jim Benning and managing a hockey franchise? Well, guess what? You can live the Jim Benning dream with Ultimate Hockey GM. It's completely free, and Locked On listeners get a 100% free boost to their franchise when they use promo code LOCKEDONNHL in the game store. To download the game, just visit hockeygm.app or look it up in app stores. Ultimate Hockey GM, start your dynasty today. The Canucks, they got to win a cup before they're creating a dynasty, but when you look at the core of this team, a guy like Brock Boeser is on the precipice of that core, right? He's the longest tenured member of this organization. He hit the 40-goal-year mark last year.
Whoa.
And despite that, the Canucks will not extend Brock Boeser, at least not this summer, okay?
Yeah.
Let's get into Rutherford's latest comments on Boeser, what the Canucks should do with Brock Boeser. We'll also get into Chris Tanev, okay? And you know what? It might be the number one move that would send the Stanley Cup vibes off the charts here in Vancouver. We'll get into that later on the show, and also get some other right-handed defenseman options on the free agent market. All that and more. It's a jam-packed Friday. Let's go, buddy. Before I do that, let me introduce my co-host. Kyle, stop lying to the people, man. You're not turning heel and cheering for the Oilers, man.
Okay.
Your Go Panthers go. What's going on, buddy?
Okay, I'm not turning heel, but I am going to that Oilers bar, or attempting to. You never know. Maybe they've seen the podcast and they don't let me in, right? You never know. I've said some harsh things, and there I am going into enemy territory to bring bad juju. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not really fair on my part. But, family first. Like Kurt Richardson was saying in the comments, right? I gotta spend time with my family. And if that's the cost, I gotta pay. And, the Black Frogs gotta pay. It is what it is. Go Panthers, go. Again, Trevor Beggs, Kyle Bowen at the Don't Those Art Lab, home of the West Coast Buys. We love our neighbors. Unless they're Oilers fans. For real. Biggest phonies on earth. I think so. Again, Vancouverites who cheer for the Oilers. Trevor, this whole Brock Boeser thing, right? This whole Rutherford comment about needing to see more, wanting to see more, and rightfully so, before they put pen to paper on more Brock Boeser years for the Vancouver Canucks is something that affects the heart, because I think a lot of people on the West Coast, the best coast of Canada, have a lot of passion for that guy. He's proven a lot of people wrong. He's proven a lot of people right. Just the best dude in the world. And this season, not only did he put up 40 goals, but he became a two-way force, arguably our best player forward in the playoffs, game in and game out, right? When he wasn't scoring or picking up points, the effort was at an all-time high. He was making plays in the defensive zone, just leveling up. Look what happened, right? Blood clot happened, missed game 7. That hurts. That sucks. But why did it happen? It's because he blocked the shot earlier in the series. He's leveled up. He's a really good player. More than a goal scorer. All these things being said, it makes me think that a lot of people are going to read this article, read that paragraph. You're going to read the quote for the people. A lot of people are going to hear that, and they're going to be disappointed.
Yeah, and let's get into it, right? I mean, Ian McIntyre interviewed Jim Rutherford in a piece on Sportsnet.com, and he asked about Brock Boeser after a 40-goal season heading into the final year of his contract. Will they make a decision on his Canuck future this summer? And, Jim Rutherford started by saying couldn't be happier for the player in the year he had, blah, blah, blah. And then he said, I think this will be a case with Boeser where we will watch closely this closely into the season. But we believe that Brock is back on track and he'll continue to do what he's doing. Once we get confirmation of that during the season, then we'll make a decision on him going forward. He also went on to say that he will not explore a trade for Brock Boeser this summer. So no, Brock Boeser isn't being traded, but he's also not being extended by the Canucks this offseason either. Kyle, I want to ask you, are the Canucks making a mistake by not trying to talk contract extension with Brock Boeser this summer?
Damn. Crazy question. I'm going to be all over the place with my answer. This all being said, I think the organization is doing the right thing by waiting, right? Straight up. Guy's coming off what I believe to be somewhat of a pretty significant injury, right? Like, it's scary. It's from a block shot. Boeser, again, becoming this two-way player, scoring 40 goals. Is he going to want to be blocking shots in the future? Get what I'm saying? Like, the Canucks need to see a lot. Is he going to be scoring 40 goals in the future? Like, they got to see if he's still going to be that guy before they put a lot of money beside his name for years and years and years to come. Again, though, like I said, all over the place. In the other form, this is a mistake because I have no doubt in my mind that Brock Boeser is not going to be a player that does all these things season in and season out. Like, look what he's already accomplished in his career. Look at how he's bounced back from not only being a question mark as a hockey player in the NHL, but just in his life in general. I'm not going to doubt a guy like this, okay? I'm also not going to doubt a guy like this who has that much effort. Like, go back to the film. This guy's a tryhard now that scores 40 goals.
Wow.
You get what I'm saying? Like, he's important. He's really, really good. Like, you're telling me that Brock Boeser can't do this for another 2 to 3 to 4 years? Like, he's still fairly young. He's got this motor. He still has a lot to prove. He wants to win. He loves being in Vancouver. We'll do whatever it takes to, give success to the city, to this coast of Vancouver. I'm not down this guy anymore. I spent too much time doing that. Last year, what did I do? I traded him for a 4th-round pick in NHL 16 from EB Games. I traded him for nothing. He proved me wrong, and I'm done doubting this guy because based on what he's gone through, he's already broken through Mission Impossible.
Man, I hate when you're so rational and you see both sides of the equation so well. And I think you and I, that's a trait and a flaw for us here on Locked On Canucks, your Canucks everyday look. I think the Canucks are potentially making a mistake right now by not trying to talk contract extension with Brock Boeser this summer. Again, they're already talking to Ben Hagenson about Jake Gensel, or not. That's tampering. Hey, not suggesting that that's going on. But it might be an opportunity to have, 2 first-line wingers on your team long-term for the foreseeable future. And I've heard that notion out there that, do you really want to have 2 wingers on your team making $8 or $9 million bucks? If they're legitimate top-line wingers and project to be that for a long time, yes, absolutely, I want that on my team.
Hey, Trevor, tell the people, man. What's the root word of wingers again? Right? What's the root word? Well, where did that come? Where did that word stem from? Okay, in Greek mythology, wingers. Win. Science, baby.
Damn, bro. That was a magical moment.
Yeah.
So, this is an opportunity where, again, I think the Canucks are being a bit cold-blooded, right? And unemotional. And that's, I think that's what you got to do as an executive because, like you said, Kyle, blood clot's a serious injury. Some guys, I'm trying to think of the main NHLers that have gone through, like Frederik Andersen came back and played great in the playoffs this season. We've seen guys in the past like Thomas Vokoun, goaltender, not be quite the same player as well. So it's a very tough injury and it's so hard to diagnose because it's not just a typical, there goes my ACL or there goes my elbow. It's a serious and different injury for sure.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe we'll do a deeper dive into Boeser's season over the summer, but I look at right now, he shot 19.6% last year. Is he going to get to that level? Maybe not. But when you look at his overall game, he scored more goals by going to the dirty areas in front of the net. Okay. So it wasn't just a one-dimensional sniper anymore. He really did a good job. And I think he's become a smarter player in terms of finding the greasy areas on the ice and where to score from. I also think that, his shooting percentage was high, but actually, if you look at a stat called shot through percentage, it was actually kind of low. So a shot through percentage is Brock Boeser attempted 402 shots this season, and 204 of them made it to the net. So that's like just above 50%. It's below his career average. And actually the season before he had 58% of his shots on net. So I think there's something to be said too about, Brock Boeser, that pinpoint accuracy, maybe being a bit better in terms of his shooting. So maybe he can stick around this level. Like, I just don't see, again, knock on wood, I hope his health holds. I don't see a big regression for this guy unless this blood clotting injury is more significant than we believe it is. But again, if I were the Canucks, even to go into the media right now, in the media, I would say we're open to contract negotiations or something along those lines. Like, keep it vague. You don't have to sign an extension. But for Rutherford just to come out and say, oh, yeah, we're not going to discuss anything until the season starts. I know Rutherford's a very open and honest guy, which is great for us. But
yeah,
at the end of the day, I think it could potentially be a mistake because what if Boeser repeats what he does this season upcoming? Now, all of a sudden, you have a guy who's got, let's say, back-to-back 40-goal seasons. He's going to be maybe the next Jake Gensel in the free agent market. He might be worth even more next season if he repeats what he's done already. So
and he repeats it in the playoffs. And he repeats it in the playoffs. Like, again, the Canucks, like, their trajectory to success, it could be fulfilled next year. I'm going to say it, right? Go win the Cup next year. Please do, ASAP. That being said, the fancy stats, the data, people who are realistic. I'm not saying I'm one of these people. Still think that the Canucks, again, are a ways away from that. Like, they're going to have to experience some more bumps and bruises, some playoff disappointments to ultimately gain the mental strength to conquer it all. So again, there could be a scenario next year where Boeser scores 39 goals, 42 goals. He still is a two-way force. And in 12 playoff games or 15 playoff games before the Canucks reach the ultimate goal, still in those games, he has like 14 points or 17 points. So now he's proven it in 2 straight years that he's a playoff performer and a two-way force. That's going to cost a lot of money. That's going to cost minimum 8. Minimum 8. You're not even like, and like, you know how you brought up the whole Gensel thing? 9.25, $9 million. You know what I'm saying? Because this guy's got the pedigree. He's done it in the past. Now he's picking it up. He's got the momentum. Again, like, this guy's a good dude too. You know, this is a guy you put in your lineup, and if he competes like that on the ice, any team in the league would want him. Low maintenance, high effort players that can score 30 to 40 goals and do it in the playoffs. Commodity, bro. So yeah, this is news. This is news. And Rutherford made it. But again, you got to be savage in this world. We're trying to win Stanley Cups. The expectations are high. The dreams are big. I'm okay with them moving like this because recency bias needs to play a bit of a tail here. Like, we're trying to make concrete moves, right? Can't live in assumption. He has to do it again. And if there's a good player there, I feel like this management group will identify that and do its best to get it done.
And not to mention, not that looks are everything, but Brock Boeser, one of the sexiest mother in the entire NHL, man. So, I mean, come on. You got to have those guys on your team.
Poster in your locker room?
Yeah, I think Hannah would leave me for Brock Boeser if she met him,
Damn.
It's the way it goes, buddy. It's the way it goes.
You can't have it all, bro. Can't have it all.
Yeah. Speaking of sexy mofos, let's talk about one on the other side, okay? One of the sexiest mofos in Canucks history, okay? We're going to talk about him on the other side and the potential of him coming home to the Vancouver Canucks and why I think it might be the vibiest, most Stanley Cup aspirationalist move the Canucks can make heading into next season. All that and more on the other side. Before that, we get to that, let's shout out our friends over at Ultimate Hockey GM. All right, Locked On Canucks fans, I want to take a moment to bring up one of our partners, the mobile game, Ultimate Hockey GM. Ever dreamed of becoming an NHL GM and managing your hockey franchise? Do you think you could run a team, the Canucks, better than Jim Benning? Well, your dream can come true because I think most people can do that. And you can live vicariously through Ultimate Hockey GM. Manage every strategic aspect of your team, play through seasons and lead it to glory. Hire the right coaches, staff, and trade players or draft picks. Navigate through free agency and the draft, all in a challenging and realistic game world. And as a Canucks fan, there's no off season. GMs are constantly making moves. They don't sleep. You don't have to either, but you can because you're just playing a game, okay? So it's all good. And remember, Ultimate Hockey GM is completely free and playable offline. Play on the go as you want and when you want to. Locked On Network listeners, you get a 100% free boost to their franchise when using the promo code LOCKEDONNHL in the game store. So make sure to check it out. To download the game, just visit hockeygm.app or look it up in the App Store. Ultimate Hockey GM. Be better than Jim betting today.
Whoa. Holy moly, we're back here doing this, giving you Locked On Canucks, rambling, talking all over the place as usual. Again, on Locked On Canucks, that give the show that gives you your Canucks every day here at the Locked On Podcast Network. Chris Tanev taking photos with Quinn Hughes. Is that tampering? Is Quinn Hughes part of the mafia, the NHL mafia? Metaphorically speaking, like what's he doing here? Is he going to get fined $10,000 if we do sign Chris Tanev in a couple of weeks because of, again, the photo that we saw getting leaked yesterday? Like, what's going on? Is Chris Tanev also becoming a Vancouver Canuck? Like, Gensel and Tanev? Bruh.
The vibes be unreal this move. I'm undoing the button for this move, man. The vibes would be so unreal if Chris Tanev came home to the Vancouver Canucks. Is it tampering? Hell no, man. No, it's his Uncle Chris hanging out with his nephew Quinn Hughes, man. Are you kidding me, man? Get out of here with that tampering talk. But I think GM Quinn Hughes, he got the Canucks management to re-sign his buddy Hronek. Now he's trying to bring his buddy Chris Tanev back home. Look, in listening to Rick Dollywall this morning talk about the Chris Tanev contract, he suggested, and again, he's the agent mouthpiece, that Tanev could command 4 years at $5 million. I'd be a little surprised if teams are willing to go 4 years on Chris Tanev, but maybe there's a team out there because you look at this guy, he is one of the best defensive defensemen in the NHL still at age 34. And would Chris Tanev, who, again, reportedly wanted to come back to the Canucks and the Flames are trying to trade him, and reportedly Quinn Hughes went to Canucks management and reportedly asked them to go and acquire Chris Tanev. Look, there's some smoke here for sure. Chris Tanev coming home. And we talked about the cap situation. Everydayers know that because actually occasional listeners know that because we talk about it almost every day. You know what? Gensel's not a given. Zadorov's not a given. Okay. If some of those things don't happen, there's some room for Chris Tanev. I know Chris Tanev is going to get paid probably $4-5 million per season. That's the contract for Chris Tanev. Maybe it's 4.5 if he decides to sign with the Canucks on a hometown discount, let's call it. But at the end of the day, it's still a possibility that he comes home. And Kyle, can you not tell me that there's not a more vibey signing the Canucks could do? Like
vibey.
The story, the emotion. I don't care about throw the nerdy guy Beggsy analytics for a second, but the emotion of Chris Tanev coming home with a locker room who adores him, coming back to a team who he never should have left and helping them win their first Stanley Cup in franchise history. I can't think of anything more vibey except for you flexing your pectorals on Wreck Beach this summer.
Whoa. I think you're right, man. I think you're right. This would be ultimately vibey, but let's talk about the hockey, man. For the same reasons that Rutherford and Alvin may not, extend Boeser until they've seen him for like 40 games. It's the same reason why the Canucks should only acquire Chris Tanev. Like, F the vibes. Like, let's talk about the hockey. Let's talk about the player. Can you still do it? Because we need to do more over here on the West Coast. Second round, Game 7, not good enough. Do you still got it? Are you still going to be one of the better defensive players in hockey at age 34 and all the wear and tear? But man, oh man. Like I said, man, I'm done doubting. I'm done doubting a lot in my life, especially for those who are going to be repping blue and green. Because this year, they proved me wrong. They shoved it up my rear end, okay? And they twisted it, okay? For real. With the porcupine in their hands. With the porcupine in their hands. You know what I'm saying? Boom, bam. If they do this, I'm all on board. I'm supporting it. If it's 4 years at $5 million per, I'm not going to get mad. I'm going to look at the first 2 years of that contract and love it. Why am I going to love it? Because you cannot tell me that Carson Soucy and Chris Tanev wouldn't be the perfect pair. The perfect pair. Stylistically, what it could do for Soucy's game as well. Something there. And based on their size, too, they kind of remind me of each other. Now they're going to play on different sides. Like, this could be a match made in heaven. Chris Tanev and Carson Soucy. That elevates the Vancouver Canucks. I talked about this a couple weeks ago, right? I want to see desperately what a guy like Carson Soucy could do under Adam Foote when his partner is not Tyler Myers.
And yeah, I think there was a lot of compliments from most Canucks pundits about Susie and Myers last season, but I had my doubts about that pairing, and I think analytically they weren't a great pairing. I think it's two slower physical guys, and I think Chris Tanev's just a better puck mover than Tyler Myers is. Again, ironically enough, the boners for Tyler Myers in this market seem to have popped up over the
Yeah.
past few months here after this guy was lambasted by fans for about 4 years. And hey, we did an apology episode to Tyler Myers. Okay, we were some
Yeah.
of the guys who were poo-pooing
Yeah.
on him for a long time. But again,
Yeah.
I've said it time and time again. Tyler Myers can't be your top priority. You shouldn't be penciling this guy into a top 4 role in your team. I mean,
Yeah.
I think as we wrap up the show, I'll talk about some of the other right-handed defenseman targets or right shot defenseman targets out there.
Bro.
But again, Tyler Myers just can't be your fallback as the
Not
second
gonna
pairing
happen.
right shot guy.
It's not gonna
And
happen. Like
are you sure though? Because I feel like if you do prioritize Gensel or third line center or Zadorov, then all of a sudden you don't really have money to upgrade the right shot defenseman behind Philip Hronek. You might have to go with a guy like Tyler Myers on your second pairing, which to me isn't good enough. But in this cap world, it's hard to build a perfect team.
No, for sure. I just think if you and I are finding it hard to believe that the Canucks have to be desperate to sign Tyler Myers, I think Rutherford and Alvin are thinking the exact same thing. I mean, they said the word ruthless, right? They did. And they also have the best seat in the house. And Game 6 and Game 7, like you don't sign a guy or make him first on the to-do list if that's the type of performance you're getting from a number 5 or number 6 defense. Like, you're not going out of your way. You're not risking having your full budget available for Tyler Myers because Jake Gensel is available. And also, the captain of your team said straight up, get me Chris Tanev. These guys know, man. They're taking their time. I don't think Tyler Myers is signing with the Canucks until after July 1st. Bro, the Canucks are an appealing place to play. Like, for real. I think the Canucks are sexy again. I think the weather's nice here on the West Coast, the best coast. Tyler Myers knows it. He's been here for years. He's like the Kelowna thing, all that stuff. You know how Zadorov is being patient? Tyler Myers is going to be patient too. He might be your number 5 defenseman, okay? For real. At 2.15.
Damn, there we
For
go,
real.
buddy. There we go. That's what I like to hear. Okay, let's wrap up the show on the other side, get to a few comments, talk about quickly some of the other options among right-handed defensemen in free agency. Who knows? Maybe we'll break that down a bit more on another episode, but I'm going to give you a couple options that are on my mind. Before we do that, let's cut to break and shout out our friends longtime friends over at eBay Motors. You know the deal, baby. Passion, drive, and patience. That's the formula for winning championships, and it's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts to choose from your ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash, baby. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins, oh baby. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items always exclusions by eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers.
Okay, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks, Trevor Beggs, Kyle Bowen, talking, rambling, shooting the ish, man. Friday, and it's just hockey talk. The Canucks haven't played in 28 days, 27 days, and you and I cannot shut up about Chris Tanev, Brock Boeser, the future of the Vancouver Canucks. It's a beautiful thing, man. Very, very grateful to be in love again with the Vancouver Canucks this season. A big reason for me not having any doubt in whatever Rutherford and Alvin does. I'm going to do my best to not be pessimistic at all off season. You got my word. Again, it's based on the fact that, yeah, the Canucks proved me wrong over the last 12 months, and I got to shut up. But man, oh man, again, it just, because I was wrong, I'm also to feel again this love for the Canucks at an all-time high. It's emotional. I'm blessed, man. How can I not be blessed? 420 every single minute of my life. The sun is shining. One love to the Canucks.
One love to the Vancouver Canucks, and one love, not a Chris Tanev size love, but a little bit of love to some other defensemen out here on the free agent market. And let me rip through some names, Kyle, and maybe we can choose one to talk about. You know, Brett Pesce's a guy we talked about before. Dylan DeMello, Matt Roy with the Los Angeles Kings, Alexander Carrier. We talked about him with the Nashville Predators, and I'm going to mention a fifth guy here, Yadi Hakanpää with the Dallas Stars. Any of those guys appealing to you, and at what cost?
Honestly, that Carrier guy, like now that you're talking about him, I kind of know who he is. The guy who played with Nashville, right? You think he scored a goal in what was it, Game 5?
Game 5.
No, Game 5, right? It was the game winner,
Yep.
I believe, right?
Yep.
Didn't watch him super closely, but that was a series in which the Vancouver Canucks had a tough time doing a lot all series long. Like every player was hard to play against. You know, I look at what happened against the Oilers series. There was multiple times where the Canucks were exploiting the Oilers defense, or they were just exploiting themselves. Very few times you saw that with Nashville. So obviously that means Carrier, if that's how you say his name, I fail French, has a lot to do with that. He's a good piece of the puzzle. Can you break down more of his game and try to make sense of this to me? Because again, I only have that reference, what he did against the Canucks via the box score.
I think this is something that casual fans might understand, but to me, he's like a Troy Stetcher on steroids. He's a smaller, tenacious right shot defenseman, but he's more physical and tenacious than Stetcher was. He's a better puck mover, I think, than Stetcher was. I think he's a better shooter than Stetcher was. And again, he succeeded this season in a top 4 role, going up against the opposition's best players or second best players. You know, we talk a lot about Dante Fabro via trade in this market, the Coquitlam tie, all that stuff. Alexander Carrier passed Dante Fabro on the depth chart. And again, they're similar ages. Carrier's got less pedigree. And yeah, so I'm a big fan of Carrier. Again, the only thing working against him is the size. And do the Canucks want to have more small defensemen on their roster? When they got Hughes, they got Hronek, who's not a huge guy, and then maybe Alexander Carrier. But when I look at value on the free agent market, and you know, Carrier's contract projection is very similar to what Jalen Chatfield's contract projection was, in that $3-ish million range. I think if you can get a guy like that, $3.5 million per season, who can play in a top 4 role, that's a steal of a deal. Now, you know, most of the names I mentioned, I think Brett Pesce, I think is going to cost too much, a bit of a pipe dream, but he's, aside from a down year last year, he's proven he could be a first pairing right shot defenseman. Dylan DeMello is in a similar boat, career season. I think he's going to command $5 million plus, but he'd be an interesting fit for me. And who else I mentioned? Matt Roy, similar to Dylan DeMello with less track record. Again, $5 million plus though. One guy I'm kind of interested in is Yadi Hakanpää, who has pretty bad puck skills, but is big, is physical.
Oh my
just
God!
a
What are you,
sturdy,
Jim
reliable
Benning?
defenseman. But
Come on,
to me,
pretty
he's just
bad puck skills, but pretty bad at hockey. But he's tall.
Hear me out. To me, Yanni Hakanpää is a cheaper version of Tyler Myers. I think you get Yanni Hakanpää at half the cost, because he's not going to produce as much offense, I guess, as Tyler Myers. But I think you get him at half the cost, and he can be just as good defensively. I mean, Yanni Hakanpää's contract projection on AFP Analytics is $1.5 million per season. And the guy's 6'6", 220 pounds. Big hitter, physical guy. Again, puck skills aren't as good. But again, if you want to, forward guys like Gensel or Tanev or Zadorov, don't be overpaying guys on your bottom pair. And to me, Tyler Myers is a bottom pair defenseman. I'm sorry, let's turn into a shit on Tyler Myers episode.
Yeah.
But don't overpay on your bottom pair defenseman. Maybe go target a guy like Yanni Hakanpää. You might have more money to afford guys like Zadorov, Tanev, Gensel, and whoever else.
I don't think it's not about you poo-pooing on him. It's like, just don't pay. Like, don't be so desperate to pay him $3 million.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you're saying. And I'm on that boat too, man. Look, is there a world? This sounds like it's mission impossible, but let's say Mikheyev does get ousted here, and let's say they don't sign Joshua and Lindholm, obviously. Like, is there a world where the Canucks can be like, okay, lose Lindholm, we lose Joshua, we'll get Gensel, we'll also re-sign Zadorov, and we'll sign Myers to like 2.25, and then you're looking at like, you also, I gotta throw this in there too. I forgot about his name. You also signed Chris Tanev as well. Like, is there a world where you can get Gensel, Tanev, Zadorov, and Myers signed? I guess that's what I'm trying to ask. With Mikheyev getting ousted, traded out of here. Because I think there is, right? Oh, look at Aaron Gray.
Yeah.
Man.
So Aaron Gray pretty much asked this exact same question. Shout out to Aaron
Ooh.
Gray. So let's if you want to go through the math on it quickly, the Canucks have about $19 million in cap space. If they buy out McCabe, it'll save them 3.6 on the cap. So let's call it $22.5 million in cap space. Gensel's going to cost 9. Myers is going to cost, let's call it 3. That's 12. Tanev and Zadorov are both going to cost probably $5 million each. That's 22. So the answer is no, because if you sign those 4 guys, you still have to fill out a few other spots on the roster, and they will be bargain depth pieces. But unless all 4 of those guys are taking a discount, no, you can't afford to keep all 4 of Guentzel, Myers, Tanev, and Zadorov, even with a McCabe buyout or even a trade. Because again, you need to fill out a few more depth pieces on the roster aside from that. So that's going to be pretty tough to do.
Well, why do you think Myers $3 million? See, this is ruining everything, man. I think Chris Tanev will sign with Vancouver if it's 4 years at 4.5. Because bro, okay.
Would you do that 4 years for Chris Tanev?
Dude, of course, man. I'm like, come on, he's my guy, man. Chris Tanev, he played like 20 games for the Canucks, and like then he started playing full time with them in 2012. And I remember again making the Facebook status in 2012. My scouting hat went on, and I said, "Yo, this guy's incredible. This guy's incredible." I've been a big Chris Tanev believer. I still want to say that he's got the will and the athleticism still to do it for a couple more years. Again, if he signs a 4-year deal, I'm only concerned about the first 2. Like, let's get there first. Let's get through those. But again, his will to just stay in games, block shots, all this just shows you that he has an unreal competitive nature, right? So if he signs with Vancouver, his team, his day one, for real, and he still hasn't fulfilled the goal to win a Stanley Cup or has won a Stanley Cup, like think about, again, his competitive nature, the heart he has for hockey. Like, you're still going to get a hyper competitive dude there. And even if his body's dwindling a bit, again, that guy's will and compete can override that. Yeah, he's intelligent as well. So he can survive here. He can. Sign Chris Tanev, man. Bring him home, man. Imagine our top 5 being Zadorov, Soucy, Tanev, Hronek, and Hughes.
Yeah, that's pretty sick. Not bad at all. G. Ellis in the comments, not loving Chris Tanev. I did want to shout out one more comment here from Kurt Richardson, because I forgot about this. Kurt Richardson saying earlier on, Stamkos went through blood clotting issues, scored 40 this season, and is an older player. So Stamkos, I was looking up quick, did go through blood clotting issues back in 2016-17. And the year when he came back, then he missed all but 17 games that season. The year he came back, he had 85 points, and I think 96 points the season after that. Now, Stamkos, again, is a top echelon Hall of Fame level player who's also a free agent, by the way. And, the Canucks were fine with tampering him once upon a time. Maybe Stamkos is a fit in Vancouver. No one's talking about that, are they? But yeah, so I think, again, let's end on the positive note, because Chris Tanev, if he comes home, or if he doesn't come home, but let's say he comes home, that body's going to last, because Chris Tanev is not old and broken. He's barely missed any games with the past 4 seasons, aside from having his mouth destroyed by a puck. Brock Boeser, I think we saw the best version of him this season, and I don't think there's regression in place. I think he's got the hockey smarts to be a successful first-line NHL winger for a long time to come, and that guy knows coming over adversity over everyone. Best is going to tear it up. Tanev's coming home. The Canucks are winning the cup over the next 3 years, and we got you all covered here on Locked On Canucks for all of it. Let's fucking go, man. Let's go.
Damn, bro. Just again, the Canucks love, man. Hi on today's episode, man. Just rambling, talking all over the place. We went through every single angle, man. Contradicted all of our opinions. It doesn't matter, because we're just here to support the success of the Vancouver Canucks. And I think, again, Rutherford and Alvin have our trust, and like whatever they do, I feel as if it's gonna work out, man. Anyways, Kyle Bound, Trevor, wish me luck. Going to an Oilers bar to watch Game 6 with my one of my favorite cousins of all time. It's gonna be a moment, and I hope the Florida Panthers win, man, for real. If they do that, bro, I'm not gonna become a petty person and ruin other people, because I can't do that. I'm 31 and a half years old. I'm not going to become belligerent. That deep down in my mind, bro, intrusive thoughts. And I want those intrusive thoughts, okay? Go Panthers, go. Subscribe, hit the like button. Trevor Beggs, take it away.
Yeah, go Panthers, go. I'm actually writing the post-game recap for that game for Daily Hive. I don't know where I'm going to be, because I'm taking a ferry to Nanaimo after work. Then I'm driving 2.5 hours north to Sayward, BC, do this like hike race called the Kusam Climb on Saturday morning. So I don't know. I might be writing the post game recap from my car in Campbell River. I have no idea what's
dude.
going to
Write a
happen
hit
today.
piece. Write a hit piece, man.
Yeah.
Get fired from.
Hopefully I'm covering
Get fired from the Daily Hive tonight because of like the anger that you have on the Oilers after a Florida Panthers win.
Yeah, let's
all
go,
Canada.
buddy. And one more question I want to answer quick from Japan 4, then we'll sign off. McCabe needs to go to free up cap space, but you're going to give him a sweetener. Second rounder, question mark. To me, if you're giving up a second rounder to get off of McCabe's contract, which again, I don't think they have second rounders for the next like 3 seasons.
What? Are you lying?
I'm out. Let's look it up quick. I think they're missing one this season. I know they're missing one. Let's see. Cover it quick. Boop. Okay, no, they have. So I was thinking third round picks. They're missing the third round picks the next 2 seasons. So they do have second round picks, but I wouldn't do it. I don't know. I personally, a second rounder to move off McCabe's contract, is that worth it to you, Kyle? They did it for Dickinson, though, right?
If we win the
With
Stanley Cup, if we win the Stanley Cup, Trevor, we're winning the Stanley Cup. Okay, can we get out of here? Okay.
Your Locked On